All right, how's it going, guys? We are going to look at sections 3 and 4 for chapter 11. We're going to continue talking about fresh water, specifically about pollution today. So, what is pollution? There's more than just water pollution. We're focusing on water pollution today, but in general, pollution is any substance that has a negative effect on the environment. So obviously there's air pollution, there's noise pollution. Not right now, I'm in an empty classroom, but anyway. Specifically today, though, we're talking about water pollution, and so that's pollution that affects water. Okay. Now, we try to identify where the pollution comes from so that you can take care of the problem. And there's two different sources. There's a point source and a non-point source. A point source is a specific source that can be identified, so it's much easier to fix the problem. If you know of a drain or a factory or something that's specifically putting something into the water, it can be addressed. But a non-point source is pollution that is not able to be identified. The source isn't able to be identified. And that's because water moves. If you think of rivers, something could be added into a river and then miles downstream, it's an issue. It's collecting. And so it's very difficult to identify all sources of pollution. Okay. Some more specific sources of pollution. And this is straight out of your book, so you can follow along on section 3. The main sources are human waste, which is sewage. Believe it or not, some sewage systems are so old they can't withstand the sewage and rain. And so when it rains, sometimes the sewer system actually overflows and it's released into rivers and oceans. Kind of nasty, but that is something that occurs. In addition, we can think of just like the trash that we put in, but the bigger problem is the actual sewage. Industrial waste. Obviously, smoke and exhaust, we think of getting into the environment, up into the air, but could actually have an impact on the water as well. Some of the pipes are underground. They could leak into groundwater and then into streams and things. Chemicals, but one that you might not think of is hot water. So factories use water to cool their machines. Well, when that water takes the heat of the machines, even though it's clean, it gets dumped back into the environment. That hot water can be damaging to fish and other living organisms in the water. Agriculture, farmers use fertilizers and pesticides. That can actually leach into the soil and get down into the groundwater and cause a problem. And then finally, runoff from roads. We've got some more rain coming up, so next time it rains a lot, go outside, find a puddle in the street, and you're going to see kind of this shimmery substance on the water. That's gas and oil from the cars. That goes down into the storm drains, and a lot of times those storm drains go right to the ocean or right to rivers. That's why sometimes you'll see those signs that say no dumping drains to ocean, but the runoff can't be stopped. Okay, so what can we do? You can see this picture here, and it's just kind of a small collection of trash in some water source. I don't know if it's the ocean or what. So we need to be aware of this. We need to make sure that we actually throw our trash away. If you throw things out of your car window, it could wind up in a storm drain. If you throw it away at a park or anywhere, it can just get brushed into the water system. We don't want it out of the water anyway. Just throw your stuff away. It's pretty easy. Recycle. Okay, plastic is a big problem. We'll get to that in a second. But if you do use plastic, make sure you recycle it. But other materials too. If we recycle them properly, they can be reused and they stay out of water better. Not everything should go down the drain. Grease and fats from cooking, you should be careful with putting down the drain. If you're working on your car, changing oil, even the soaps that you use to wash your cars, you should be careful with hosing that off, because if it gets down into the gutter, it's getting into the water. Okay? And then finally, use less plastic. I know it's a controversial topic, but we should all be doing our part. There is this thing known as the Great Pacific Garbage Patch, and I'm gonna link you guys into another video, or post that video for you guys to watch about this garbage patch. There are tons and tons of plastic trash and just other trash floating in our oceans right now, and it is having an impact on sea creatures. So while I like plastic straws over paper straws, and while I still forget to take my grocery bags to the store sometimes, it's important for me to do my part, okay? I try to use my refillable cups instead of always buying plastic bottles. A good percentage of the trash that's floating around in the ocean, and you can see in that picture right there, is actually plastic bottles, okay? So we just all need to do our part. All right, now, moving away from pollution a little bit, and this is getting into section 4, water can serve a really important purpose. It can, let me get my pen here. It can provide electricity for us. So these hydroelectric dams can give us clean energy. Instead of burning fossil fuels, it can give us a source of free energy. So this is how it works. The water back here, okay, behind the dam, contains potential energy, which is a stored energy. It's just waiting to flow, okay? Once it does flow, so this gate opens up and it flows through here to the other side of the dam. As it's moving, it's releasing kinetic energy, which is the energy of motion, okay? Well, while that's moving, that kinetic energy is turning this turbine right here. Okay, so just the movement of water. How many of you have been knocked over by a wave at the beach before? Okay, water's heavy, water's powerful. That energy can move things, and so it moves these turbines just by the flow of the water. And that turbine is connected to a generator, okay? And the generator converts that mechanical and kinetic energy into electric energy, which then flows through these power lines to our homes, okay? So a couple of things that I want you to do. This is Hoover Dam right here. That is Hoover Dam outside of Las Vegas. Maybe some of you have seen that. I want you to research a hydroelectric dam and learn something about it, okay? I'm going to give you guys an assignment related to that, all right? The other thing I want you to do is I've posted a video about these little mini hydro generators. One company that does it is called Turbulent. And they can produce electricity for small towns. So again, research about a hydroelectric dam, and then watch this video and do the assignments related to those two things for this section, all right? Hope you guys are doing well.